Bit touch and go there, Simon. I thought for a moment. I thought we were going to run out of seconds. How good you stood here looking at the weather. You come from the north. There's quite a few Pecks got married in this church and then also ended in divorce. So maybe this church isn't lucky to us. So it's Wednesday morning. We're down here at one of the farms, and the county council, who I'm trying to get hold of and having to go through their portal to get somebody to ring me, which hasn't happened to date. And I've made a couple of calls, but as all these things, everybody says it's not them, but we are cambered up, so we've got their van, so we know it is them. They've gone and dug across the road here to put in a new drain, but they've dug up all the other side of the road is a mess because they went and hit the electric cables and then they blew the electrics, so then the electric company had to come back and repair the cabling. But they put this pipe in the ditch here, and basically what they've done is they put it on the top of the water. So instead of putting it down below in the bottom of the ditch, they put it on the top. So now this ditch is completely backing up with standing water, and they've blocked off the drain that ran down the front here by dumping all this spoil and soil here. And then our land drain from the fields here is where we got this post, and it's now buried in the water because the water levels come up so high, which is now going to cause us a problem in the field. So it means we've now got to come down, re-dig out this ditch. But this pipe is, I mean, beggars belief, the lack of common sense. Fancy putting the pipe in like an overflow pipe. You know, it's like a bath, only having the plug at the top. It's completely bonkers. And this is what we're dealing with. So this, what a waste of money. It now needs to be redug up and drop the pipe down as it should be. It's not even in the bottom of the ditch on that side either. Just the basics of water management in this country with local authorities and the EA. Absolutely clueless. Constant. This is how you get flooding. I'm frustrated by this because now it's us who've got to come and do all the extra work to clear up all this dumping, find the pipe which goes under there and get that running again, and then sort out this land drain now, which is going to start backing up, causing us a problem in the field. And these are ditches that we dig out ourselves up and down this road because they don't do the work. Come on, Cambridgeshire County Council, sort this out. This is ridiculous. So effectively, we've had a container broken into, 2 containers, where they come through the fields, they come through the footpaths, which is really annoying. So where there's a bridge for the footpaths to come in, they've come in there, and they've managed to get in, cut the locks off, and managed to get in. We're just trying to work out how to cut the lock off, but it looks like yeah. Funny old thing. We all know who it is. Margaret would be horrified to know that I'm sitting in her chair.
Not surprised. It'll never be the same again.
Yeah. Oh, what are you trying to say? You're saying the suspension will be somewhat... Is that what you're trying to say? You seem to be quite happy on there chomping away on those Scotch eggs.
It's the only thing I've had to eat today.
Is it really? So this is the wonderful thing about Sandy married a lady that has a farm shop. So he comes in with bribery to give me a Scotch egg. Now, the last time he bought me a Scotch egg, 2 of them I think there were, I was so pleased. I thought I'll put them in the fridge for later. That was my first mistake. I went home for later, and Alexander had eaten both of them. So I never actually tried the Scotch egg with mustard yet. So we're doing the tidying up the end of year gatekeeper to make sure that it's right, and Michael's a genius on it. I stay in the opposite corner to keep as far away from it as possible. So Kieran's been
gatekeeper
in here.
or me?
Both. Both. And Kieran's been in here as well, hasn't he, trying to help with various things. But fingers crossed we're going to get to the bottom of this and make sure that everything's absolutely perfect. Just going to pop down to see my grandfather, and this is a local church in Dry Drayton, and he was very keen coming here as it did operate in those days every week. Now it's got different dates looking at it. Yeah, but the family they cut the grass here all the way through the year, which is done. They get a contractor in, the family pays, which isn't just myself, it's my father, it's my cousins, it's my aunt who's out in Spain. So the family, because grandfather was so keen on the church, and that's been going on. I suspect he died in '95, so yeah, they've been cutting the grass all of that time. So what's that? That's oh yeah, it's cracking on. That's 30 years. So 30 years the family have been cutting the grass in the churchyard now, and then they've contributed to the heating and the earphone system and whatever. But like all these things, don't get down here as much as I. Grandfather was one of the biggest influences in my life. I had two grandfathers. I had Dr. Owen Peck, which is this grandfather. And unfortunately, this is a cousin I never met. She died in '72, which she only lived for 3 months, but his ashes are here. And then my other grandfather in Lincolnshire, he's a big farming and hunting man, which is Michael's obviously grandfather as well. So the grandparents, my two grandfathers, I spent most of the time not getting on so well with my grandmothers, but I got on really well with my grandfathers, and they had a big impact on my life and how I think. And that's the generational part. That's the thing about farming. People just, well, not everybody gets, but it doesn't seem the government does, but they don't seem to understand that actually everything's all about generational. It's about my grandfather, my great-grandfather. I mean, my father's side of the family were farming in Great Granston, I don't know, 120 years ago or something. Then they went to Rushden. But in those days, they were working on farms. And then my mother's side of the family are in the Doomsday Book up in Haversage in Hope Valley, Derbyshire. So there's long been family farming now for so many generations, and that's how we all think, and that's what it's all about. And that's why this APR tax that the government's trying to bring in is so damn cruel. And actually the society has benefited from the dedication of farmers and their families dedicating their life to producing food to feed British people with British food, and that is a dedication. If it means that people are able to go out there and do other things in society because they know that there are farmers who are dedicating in all weathers to produce food for them to be able to carry out their lives. So this is inside Dry Drayton Church. It's a nice little church. It's well structured. I actually did get married in this church the first time, but yeah. Actually, there's quite a few Pecks got married in this church and then also ended in divorce, so maybe this church isn't lucky to us. Grandfather wanted to be down there because of one of his grandchildren. He's down looking after the children's area down there. And then new burials are here. And then this is Churchfield out here, which we drilled with barley. And and then most of the farm goes all of that way back. And then we sort of wrap round and go that way again through Dry Drayton. So I've been looking at this church all of my life when ploughing and whatever up and down in these fields. We're quite a bit higher. We're something like, I can't remember rightly, but it's up towards 60 metres above sea level, and I think we're getting down to about 25 or something down here. Right, so the walls are going in now, starting to tin. So nice white tin to make it bright inside, and yeah, starting to look a bit different. This is a lot of rain. This is getting really wet now. A lot of rain. There's our young apprentice in the cab. So look, we've got the cab dumper. We're now going to have to start putting drainage in to make sure that the whole site doesn't flood. No good, you stood here looking at the weather. You come from the north. This is summertime for you.
I'm staying out away at camera.
Are you? Oh, you stay, yeah. Well, you've been on camera before, we know.
Yeah,
I've seen you on Crime Watch.
more than likely. More than likely.
What a difference that's starting to make inside. So much brighter.
Yeah.
That white, really, it's surprising how it bounces off.
Yeah. White, you always need white inside.
Yeah. Makes a big, and this is actually now, you put the panels in, and we really start to see how this is transforming.
Yeah.
And they're sorting the drainage out now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Which will help.
Hopefully.
God, dear, oh dear, this is wet.
Lovely British weather that we have. Yeah.
Oh, it's hopeful. Supposed to be in Australia this time of the year. That's what I always think.
Need to get a farm out there.
Yeah, I know. So it's been my life dream.
Yeah.
And whether I'll achieve it or not, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to get 2 harvests a year. That was the whole idea. Yeah. I think it's probably a sign of madness.
Yeah, maybe not. You never know. You never know.
But actually, the size of the shed now, I know it's got to go again. We're only half the size it should be. I'm doing it to give myself a rest for a year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, you get.
And they're washing the combines ready.
I know. I've seen,
That's why
I've seen everything was getting ready.
We're getting you pushed out.
Right, it's fine. Push me out.
What Freddie's finding is obviously the Joker is Freddie's machine. We're just getting them ready to winter store them, and he just wants to make sure everything's greased up, etc. And he keeps finding that one of the grease nipples on this back ram, and it's the same both sides, Freddie, yes? Yeah. And the Trano, same problem. Yeah. So what happens is that for some reason, just this back one, these ones are all right, but the grease won't go in, and he thinks that the soil's getting in and pasting up in there, and he's having to clean these out each day. So I think we're going to have to strip these apart, you know, and get them work out actually what's going wrong. Because if it's happening to both sides, it's happening to the Tranos, maybe something that Horse need to look at if it's happening particularly on the same hinge point. But yeah, so Freddie's trying to save me money, saying we don't need to change the disc just yet. But it's a big job to change the disc. I can't remember if it's 96 on here or something like that. How many discs can you remember?
98.
98 or 96, one of the two, isn't it? 98. Yeah, it's a big job to change. How long did it take you to change last year?
1 day.
1 day.
1 day. All 1 day morning. About 1 more second. I
1.5 day.
More.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Big
12
days.
hours,
Yeah, big days.
Yes, this is every now this is blue.
Oh, Loctite.
500 volts.
Yeah, 500 bolts he has to do. And he has to Loctite them in. Kieran's getting the combine washed. So we use the cherry picker. It's such a great tool. Makes a big difference, Kieran, doesn't it? Yeah. So Kieran get up there, can wash the tanks, wash everything safely. You know, just even getting it on top. Once you got one of these, you'll be amazed how you use it every day. It's just like the forklift, the telehandlers. You don't realise how important they are in the business until you have one. But just little jobs. And then Glyn is he's getting Santa's sleigh ready. So on Saturday, he's going to be taking my father, who's going to be dressed up as Santa Claus, and we do it each year for the local school up at Caldicott. And Glyn's going to take my father in the new chariot, and so he's getting it nicely washed for the children so that Santa can arrive and give them presents on Saturday, which will be good. So a lot of mud now, a lot of mud. So I got Paul Bray here from Spaldings. This is the chief, and he's trying to give me a bit of stick because basically we've got a seed sock here, and we've got to put these on. So of course, me being me, he said, well, why aren't they stitched on from the beginning? These are going to fall off. He said, just put them on, man, just put them on.
It's not worth arguing. Just put them on. It works fine.
Anyway, why are they in pink? This is an Ollie Bloggs invention, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why are they in pink? Is there a reason? Is it to do with breast cancer or something like that?
No,
No.
I don't think that's the reason why. I think it's just the colour that they colour.
Right, okay.
And I think it's a nice colour, James.
Is that because Ollie's a bit feminine? Is that why? You said that first, didn't you, Paul?
I've not said a word.
27th of November and an awaited event with Fire Stick. So back in the summer, David from Australia was over and we did a demonstration. Paul sent down some fire sticks for us to look at in regard to fire safety in the field, which is such a key problem in agriculture when lots of dust and straw is flying and potential fires. And you know, Kieran's had the problem with the fire on the combine last year, didn't you? And you know, every year I would think that we have a problem. We need to be kitted up. So historically, we've been on fire extinguishers. We've then been on water bowsers and on the back of the chaser bins. So David and I, the first problem came that we'd never actually seen the sticks before, hadn't worked out how to do it. We had seen a video of it being used as a show, but actually hadn't worked out how they made them work. So of course, where is one to hand? Have we got one? So the first thing we did is obviously we took the thing apart and we thought it was like a flare. When you took the cap off, it was going to come out like a flare. And what I didn't appreciate was you actually have to pull off this bit goes on the floor, so that's okay. This bit here, you break that, and then you have to strike the end. And once you strike the end, it runs. So the first part, we're sitting there, and it's quite small writing. So of course, David and I, sort of reaching middle age, we were like trying to read it, what to do. We're experts now. We know what to do, but it took us 2 occasions. But the thing about a fire is, it's having the right training on how to use these. So in the situation of a fire, you're not in the situation David and I are in, where you can't read the instructions or you're struggling to read it. So we've got Glyn and Kieran and Simon here, and we're going to have a demonstration. I'm going to get this right. Sergio, I was nearly there, wasn't I?
It's close enough.
There are other videos where I have a difficulty in pronouncing names.
Right, okay.
So you're not alone. And then
At least you remembered it.
I did.
Like, some people call me Paul.
Oh, Paul. Oh,
I don't
I
know.
remember that.
We-
I
we-
call you
we-
Paul.
no, we had that,
For the
on a
rest of the
live
video,
event,
you could
yeah.
be Paul.
Someone,
and
put my
we
name
got Andrew here, and that's not Alan. So right. So over to you. Tell us what we're going to do.
Okay, so today it's about education. Fire safety stick, we're going to do a live demonstration as well, but really it's to get you guys as well to know about the product, how it works, where it can work, where it can't work. So it's a great tool to fight fires at the early stage. So we'll do a fire and I'll do a quick demo of it.
Because you come with your van, and
with
it's got a hot box in it.
It's got a hot box in it.
And that's so you can do these sort of demonstrations.
Exactly.
So you could actually, for a better word, go around farms
100%.
and do these demonstrations on site.
Yeah.
Or in people's workplaces so that people would then become trained and proficient in using them.
Yeah, we have got a train the trainer program.
Right.
So as we kind of are developing as a company, we're getting better at it. So the train the trainer program, it's open to anyone. They want to come into our head office in Bedfordshire. It's a great place to come.
Where is it?
Bedfordshire, Luton. So it's just...
what's good about Luton? I've been there.
That's why I was saying Bedfordshire. You forced me into that.
Yeah, okay,
it's
yeah.
actually Junction 11A.
Right, okay.
Nothing
So
wrong
you're
with Luton.
distancing yourself from Luton?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Not at all.
And we've got Paul and Michael from Spaldings here, who actually supply these. You supply Spaldings, and then they're sending these out to the farmers as they need them. So let's have a look at this hot box.
Yeah, okay. So, the top comes off, as we had before. We don't need that part. Bottom comes off.
Yeah.
Put the 2 parts together. You don't have to do it hard, just strike it. You wait for the white vapours to do the work. We can switch that off. 1, 2, 3. Switch that off. So we can turn that off. You what? I'm not actually doing anything apart from spraying. So
Okay.
it's really simple. You can spray, this won't cause any damage.
I can understand why it's going to work inside the box because you're
In an
controlling
engine bay
the
or something like
atmosphere. When it's outside, like in this, you can see how it's blowing. how effective is it going to work in that situation?
So let's say, for example, if your fire's right here,
Yeah.
it's going to be hard. You should be fighting the fire from behind it, so you're not having the smoke coming towards you.
Yeah.
But this is where it's really effective in engine bays, in engines, in enclosed spaces,
Yeah.
in places like that, where nooks and crannies where you can't get to.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you're looking at, I'll go to this one. That's where, you know, it's not out in the open. The fire's going to be somewhere inside.
Okay.
And you're getting
Yeah,
it
you're
through
trying to
the
get
vents.
into it.
It's the vents that the vapour's got to get to the fire. You don't have to be that close. And that's where it's been working in motorsport and lots of other places. It's getting through the
So
vents.
actually, this is really good for bearing fires and for engine compartments.
Engine compartment.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got, let's say, for example, what the demo that was done outside.
Yeah.
That's not where it's ideal for.
Okay.
And especially for wood where it has residual heat.
So there is a place then for a fire extinguisher and a fire stick. It's not a direct replacement.
No.
You've got to pick the right tool for the right job.
Having more tools to combat fire
Yeah.
is the key.
You nominated Simon first.
Oh,
have you?
Simon.
Right, okay. Simon, you're going first. Normally, Kieran's not that shy normally.
So you've got hands free.
Bit touch and go there, Simon. I thought for a moment. I thought we're going to run out of seconds.
And I think that's the important thing about it, is because the normal sticks are 50 or 100 seconds. So you can take your time. So even if fire situation, yes, you might still be panicking a little bit, but you don't need to rush. With a normal, let's say, 1 kg dry powder, you've got 6 or 7 seconds. You do need to be quick there.
In reality, he had nearly half the time again, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So that, I mean, from my point of view, I think it's a useful bit of training. Good. And from my own perspective, when I hadn't seen any form of sort of training on it or anything, we made a right pig's ear of it. But actually what we picked up from today is that there is a place for the fire extinguisher, there's a place for the water and all the different forms of putting fires out. And actually where the fire stick really comes into its own is those compartment areas that you struggle to get into, like the engine compartment, Andrew was just telling me that actually if you had, say, a log burn fire in the chimney, you can't get a fire extinguisher into a chimney, but actually where the fire stick can really come into its own is getting up into a chimney, which if you've had a fire in the chimney, you know actually that's a problem because you can't do much about it. But, I mean, guys, you've just obviously had a go, and I don't think you've ever used one before, have you? So do you think you would have been competent in using that before you've been shown how to use it? No, because I mean, David and we didn't get it right, and we were fumbling about when we tried it. So I think it's key, isn't it, to actually have a bit of training or see how it works, etc. So we're clued up. But do you think there's a place for us to have these, for example, in the cabs, or you do?
They don't take up any room, do they?
No, that's the beauty. Is they are tiny, aren't they? And the way they've got them on the clips, we could connect them somewhere, couldn't we, where they just grab and go. So Paul Bray from Spaldings, CEO of Spaldings, has joined me. We've just come in for a bit of a respite and have a quick coffee and warm up.
It's very cold out
My
there
toes
today.
are still tingling. We've just had I think, a very good bit of training. I'm very keen on training, actually. And part of Red Tractor, what I had to demonstrate on Monday when I sat with them is what level of training we're doing in the business. And actually, when they printed the list out, what we've done in the last 12 months, I was really surprised how much we do.
Yeah.
I know we do a lot, but until you see it actually down the sheet. But, just thinking about, we moved on from the fire stick, obviously, and we're just thinking about the wider business and where we're all going for the next 12 months. Because you as a subsidiary industry, your sort of... business is no different seasonally to the farm, is it? Because you are mirroring what the farm is doing.
Absolutely. It's with the changes that we're seeing within agriculture, and particularly after the budget, it has a knock-on impact on all the other business supporting Bush's agriculture.
And we mustn't forget that. And I know that people think, it's family tax or whatever, but actually everybody has got problems from this budget, haven't they? And in your business, in effect, as a subsidiary, to agriculture, and you're important to my business because you are supplying us with the parts. We have an impress stock that we've been running now for over 10 years, a long time. I'd hate to think how long.
Probably 12 years now, James.
12 years, so we've been doing, and we did that because we never wanted to run out.
Yeah.
And in return, we're loyal to Spaldings, and we're buying, your products, and in return, you're stocking.
Yeah.
And that works for us. But this budget, Paul, just in terms of your business, because you employ, how many people do you employ?
We employ 134 people.
Okay.
So that will have quite a big knock-on impact with the increase in NI.
So employers NI,
Yeah.
outside of the employees
Yeah.
NI, but the employers, what sort of impact is that going to have for you?
A rough calculation, I think that will have an impact of probably, we'll have to find an extra 270,000, I think.
Nearly £300,000
Yeah.
just from that speech.
Yeah.
My goodness. And
Yeah, and we've always paid. It's not just the NI contribution.
Yes.
We've always paid above.
Of course, yes, we mustn't forget
yeah,
the minimum wage.
minimum wage.
Increase up, and of course, most businesses are proportionately above the minimum wage, which has another impact.
But it always has a knock-on impact as well because the minimum wage levels increased.
Yeah.
So the next tier, you've got to keep looking to go
Yeah.
forward. So it's very difficult. I mean, we wanted to. We've had quite with the weather particularly, and I think new machinery sales have been pretty slow in the UK and across Europe.
Yeah.
We've had quite a good year on the back of that because people are making and mending and repairing machinery.
Yes, of course, and you supply that
yeah.
for the opportunity instead of buying new.
Yeah. So
they can mend.
So looking towards next year, it'd have been nice to, we were looking at apprentices and probably do need to expand our workforce.
Yeah.
But you have to step back a little bit and think, actually, it's quite difficult to do.
So actually, for terms of your business, Paul, actually, you put brakes on.
Yeah.
So it's an expansion killer, but also it's an opportunity for young people to get into the industry.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is because of the increase in the apprenticeship costs and etc. and the national minimum wage, actually those decisions might be put on the back hold. I mean, for our point of view, we're 18% increase in the contribution to a young person now.
We shall still find a way. I mean, we still have plans to look because it's great to bring new people into the business.
Yeah, of course.
It
Well,
really
we
is.
all need it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how will you actually deal with this 300k, for example, in NI? That is going to filter down because that's not going to be just your business. That's going to be the people who manufacture the parts as well. Assuming they're UK based, but that is going to filter down into the farmer again, isn't it?
It's going to be interesting to see because it's not just our problem.
Oh, it's everybody.
It's our manufacturers' problem.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how industry copes with.
And the transport. Yeah. Anyone, even the logistics companies who bring the parts from your warehouse to our farm.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. We're looking. You look at where you can save costs just to try and maintain the business.
Yeah.
But it does make you think. You're looking all the time.
And the reality is, Paul, as the farmer can't shoulder any more of the costs, as what's historically been happening now for nearly 25 years, is actually the cost of food is going to have to go up to the farm gate level. Because there is a massive issue, isn't there, between what the people are paying for food is a lot more, but actually what's filtered back down to the farm gate and what the farm gate then can afford to pay out to their suppliers. Actually, there's going to have to be a shift, I think, in not necessarily that the public are going to pay more for food, but actually that who is taking the margin out of the middle.
Yeah.
And that's something I think I want to really get my teeth into this winter, is actually why is the return back on the farm so small? So for the next 12 months then, Paul, obviously I think we're all sitting here just trying to get through the season, weren't we? And you're a root crop business as well, so of course you've had an element of past where we stopped combining and drilling, you've still been supplying root crops. So now you're going to have to take a breath like the rest of us and sit and think, right, okay, how are we going to make this work?
We have a quite a diverse product range. So, and also we've got two businesses as well. We've got Spaldings Agriculture and we've got Spaldings Ground Care.
Yeah, so just golf courses.
Golf courses, local authorities.
Yeah.
But they're suffering the same problems, particularly in with local authorities and spending cuts on, you know, looking after grass
Course,
verges
yes,
and
yeah.
you
Well,
know,
we can see that's not
playing
happening.
fields.
But I mean, as a business, though, I mean, you know, like there's a point, doesn't there, where you have to sit and have to say, are we committed to keep going or not? And we decided we're absolutely committed in agriculture. That's where we want to go, and we're going to make this work. And no doubt you, as a business, are in exactly the same, made the same decision.
Absolutely committed to go forward. Absolutely. The one thing that I've always loved about dealing with farmers, and you ask anybody in the Spaldings business, is that, you know, we're very much a relationship business.
Yes.
And it's generational. And you know, we want to continue that, definitely. But
That's so extraordinary, isn't it? It's the generational.
It's generational.
Is what
yeah.
I think as an industry we need to get across to government and to the public is how we think and how we operate is not really about ourselves. It's about the next person.
But there's a lot of businesses which are supporting agriculture.
Oh yeah.
And it's
because when we had the march, it was only last week, last Tuesday, and I'm right in saying you were in London, weren't you?
Yes, we were.
Yeah. So you were talking with farmers on the way down and the way back, and you would have got, you know, I'm sure been proud to have been, you know, in London that day and as a subsidiary.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's great to see the agricultural community pulling together.
Yeah, and I'm proud of the fact that there wasn't any disaster. I have just read in the Times this morning about they've actually arrested a 57-year-old tractor driver that drove through the village. Did you see it where it was flooded?
Yes, I did.
I'm surprised he's 57. I don't know any more detail because it didn't say, but I thought it was going to be some whippersnapper.
Yeah.
But that was not. We don't even actually know if they were even a farmer, do we? Just because they had a tractor doesn't actually mean they're a farmer. But that wasn't the best thing when we're in the media currently for APR issues and BPR, etc. But and in the industry didn't support that action either, did they? They were pretty horrified.
Yeah.
But I think we need to wait till we see the detail before we go and put them on the fire. But no, well, thank you for today, Paul, and it's good to have a catch up. And I'm pleased that, you know, Spaldings are committed in going forward, and hopefully we'll all find a way. And in one way, I hope that Rachel Reeves actually thinks that actually probably her budget wasn't the best idea, and they come backwards on it. But that might be wishful thinking.
No, it's good to come today, James. It's good to have a catch up with you, James. But also, I thought it was really good what Firestick did today.
And also having training the guys, and the feedback was that the guys without that level of training probably wouldn't have known what to do.
Absolutely.
So I think that's key.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
27th of November. Here we are in my house. I've just made lunch for these guys. These guys are from Horsh, so this is like the war room here where we're just sitting about making plans for an open day. As you've asked for an open day, Horsh are here. They're holding a big event, and they're very kindly going to allow me to have an open day, which then people can come and visit us in June. So going to be towards the end of June. We're going to release a date at some point so that anybody who wants to come can book in to come, and there'll be a PX open day. So my mannequin here is very kindly brandishing the lovely new T-shirt that we have. So one of my favourite sayings, October drilling is for losers. So he's put this on. So if you want to buy a T-shirt for a Christmas stocking or a nice hat, as people have asked for a winter hat, then go to the shop on the website under pxfarms.com and you can get either. And there's some other things that Tom's put on there which will be available. So get clicking fairly sharpish so that we can get them out to you so that you're not disappointed for Christmas. Keep subscribing, everybody. Let's see those numbers go up. I've got to hit my targets, and I hope you're excited that we're actually planning the open day now, so there's something to look forward to. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.